Hello, it is I, Sarah. Today I'm going to be showing you my painted paintbrush designs, as in I painted on a paintbrush with the paintbrush. Over the past couple weeks, I painted 4 paintbrushes total. That would be 8. This would be 4. I look like a monster. Ugh, here's a little sneak peek. Or you know what, I'll show them now. Gotcha. You'll have to wait. Karma just put a bunch of hairs in my mouth. A cat hair. This was, of course, inspired by Mariah Elizabeth herself, and as she says,
it's another art tool covered in art to serve as a piece of art decor for my art room.
Without further ado, let's get on into the painted brushes. Lights, camera, action. Let us prep the first paintbrush with some gesso. I am going to use another paintbrush for this. What a pair! I'm gonna link my Amazon storefront in the description box below if you're interested in getting any of these paintbrushes that I am transforming or any of the paints. Tap, tap, tap. Seems pretty solid. And I do have to let the gesso dry so I don't ruin what I already did, and also I have to put a second layer. Due to editing magic, you're only seeing me do one at a time, but between you and I, here are the behind the scenes. I worked on all 4 at once, so once the first one was dry, then I can move on to the second one and flip it and do all this stuff. So doing multiple brushes at one time is definitely more time efficient. This was the way to go. Another secret behind the scenes tidbit, this paintbrush here, I actually created this one last. So this one was actually 4th, but it's going to be 1st today. Just because I feel like the others are a little bit more creative. I did not like the gold at all. I thought that it blended way too closely with the tan bristles. So switching to silver, let that dry and did another coat off camera before finishing the handle here. It's nice and smooth now. And I was terrified to go in with paint and no plan. So I decided to draw on the brush part of this with a colored pencil. As you can see, it doesn't really matter what color you use, but just keep it light if you are doing this so the paint goes over it nicely. Now it has ears, so you can probably tell it's going to be a teddy bear, and really the only way that I can make them as smooth as possible is to use a little bit of water with my acrylic paint. So I do water this down to have this really fluid, crisp line instead of something really jagged. Even so, I do make a few mistakes along the way. I'm only human, okay? Whoa. Unfortunately, I didn't mix any extra of the color that I used on the bristles, so I had to try to color match, but I didn't do the greatest job and it turned out lighter. That's okay. This is a happy accident in disguise, or maybe not in disguise, it's kind of in plain sight. So the bear now has a light glow, which turns out to help him pop more. Cute little smile. Now it's time for a pop of yellow for the umbrella. That's right, this bear is going to be standing in the rain. Look, I know what you're thinking. The umbrella doesn't even cover this bear's head. How is it going to keep him dry? Well, you know what? Let's just use our imaginations because I don't know either. So I moved on. And, well, I tried to move on. This bottle of slick puffy paint was not cooperating at all. I mean, it is old, but it looks like it's fine. Trying to squeeze it out told me otherwise, though. This took forever and it really made my hands sore. But because of that, I only ended up doing 2.5 raindrops, and I think that that's actually enough. This is good. Hey, what do you think? You like him? Aww. Okay, moving on. Paintbrush number 2. You see, it is already painted partially. This was actually one of the members of my previous video, which was a paint pour. I did like kind of a marbly effect on the handle. So I only have to put gesso on the metal part and the bristles this time around. We're gonna cover everything. The bristles are a lot more bristly. They're not as soft. At this point, it kind of looks like a frosted mini wheat. Anyone else see the resemblance? It was nice to be able to hold on to the handle the entire time I painted the upper portion of the brush, so then when I left it to dry, I could just set it in this sectioned silicone cup here, and voila, it is now dry. and I am painting the entire thing this minty turquoisey blue. I wanted to incorporate the shape of the bristles into the design of the thing that I'm making. And also I was inspired by Mariah to do something three-dimensional in this video with puffy paint. So I thought to section off this metal part from the bristles, and you'll see very soon why. Ta-da! It is dry now. I did put a few layers on here. This is what it looks like as a single layer. I really like that the color is a little bit different as well. I definitely globbed this on, and it takes quite a while to dry in between layers, so you bet I was working on the other brushes while this was drying. Now the 3-ish layers of puffy paint are dry, and I'm gonna put the black details. You'll finally know what this is. I actually followed the little dots of the metal part, and I made those into eyes. Then we'll get back to that, I guess. I got these little self-adhesive gems from Walmart, placed them all around like so, kind of staggered, and I did 2 different sizes. This one needed a little extra push. Got stuck to my nail. There we go. I think that they look kind of bubbly because this is supposed to be a jellyfish, and there's his little mouth. I think it's so cute. He's a little jelly, Jeffy Jelly, swimming through the marbly, sparkly sea. Now let us proceed to paintbrush number 3. Hey brushy, you have a little flyaway there. Kind of embarrassing. I'll help you fix it, don't worry. Just paint that, let it dry together, and there you go. All fixed. You're having a much better hair day now. Again, the same gesso process. Been there, done that, seen it. Let's get on to the colors. So this one is actually going to be based on one of my more recent videos. I will show you the comparison very soon as we get further into the design. Nothing too special with the bristle color, another light tan, and then I am doing some wild details for the top half. Ooh. I decided to freehand the first one. I'm very glad that it didn't go completely wrong. I think it turned out very nice. That being said, I was not going to trust myself to do the others without any guidelines, so I did go in with colored pencil here. I'm really into this kind of groovy, trippy, Alice in Wonderland type flowiness design. I've done this on my wall. Wow, cool. For the touch-ups, I actually used white gesso instead of acrylic paint, so I didn't have to even add another layer of white. The gesso works interchangeably. At this point, the thinner sections are still a little bit wonky, as you can see, but I want to move on and get to this heart outline. I cut it out from a piece of paper and taped it just a little bit with clear Scotch tape. Initially, I just went in with a solid color. This is actually pretty on its own, but I wanted to do more. So here is where you can probably start to see the tie-in to one of my more recent videos from this year. I'm doing kind of a patchwork pastel design with this heart, and I didn't like how dark the green was there, like the teal, so I made that lighter. Put this cracked part on the bottom of the heart, and I tried to shade that to make it look 3D. I don't know how well I did, but moved on to the outline. This was a little bit difficult because I wanted it to be so thin, but I managed, and also went ahead and did the entire inner part of the heart, some stitch marks like stitches. I still don't know if that's actually the bunny's name. I wanted this piece to tell a story, or have a lot of meaning anyway. So I'll try to explain it as best as I can without blabbing on for too long. The colorful heart represents creativity, beauty, all things positive. It represents an entire person, heart, mind, and soul. But over time, parts were ripped away and sewn back together to try to bring repair and try to heal. From the outside, people looking at this person, they see the same person as always. They're disguised and they look like themselves. No one knows that anything's wrong, they hide it well, they fake a smile, all that. Pieces keep getting sewn back together, and eventually there's this huge crack. everyone who thought that the person was full of joy and happiness, well, there really was dust inside. They were empty. And this represents that dust escaping. I don't know what the next part of the story is. Hopefully, you know, something magical. The final paintbrush is number 4. This one's going to be so colorful. I really love the gradient that I end up doing on this one, which you'll of course see after the gesso. This is actually the one that I painted first, even though it's last in the video. You can see that the plate is really nice and clean here, and it was not so much in the rest of my video clips. So yeah, this part's really satisfying to see all the pretty pink paints. Purple, so this is going to have a gradient. I did bring in some white acrylic paint so I could lighten the colors and make them more pastel here. Gradients are very deceiving unless some people have it down to a T and can do it in maybe 10 minutes. I feel like this gradient honestly took me over half an hour, but I want to say closer to 45 minutes. I did carry the design over to the back as well, so that's part of it. I had to wait for certain parts to dry so I could handle it and then flip it. But I mean, just getting the colors to flow seamlessly, or as seamlessly as possible, it took a while because I did quite a few different shades of purples and pinks, and eventually down to a very dark, like salmony, almost coral color. Again, I kind of stole inspiration from one of my previous pieces. Let's try this one more time. And I wanted it to look nice and crisp, so I traced the moon from one of my wood paintings. So yeah, paper moon, traced around it with colored pencil, and then I went ahead and did an outline with yellow acrylic. The meaning of this one is actually pretty similar to the previous heart design. It's just in moon form and it's dripping. I really value putting out art that has some sort of deeper meaning to it instead of just cute things. Like, it can be cute and meaningful at the same time. I really like the direction that my art style has taken over the past year or two. I'm not really sure when I started doing the more meaningful pieces. I think I've scattered them kind of throughout the years, but it's definitely been more prominent this past year. So combining something that's beautiful but also is kind of dripping, falling apart, breaking, but also remaining together at the same time, if that makes sense. It is something that I feel like a lot of people can relate to. I want to continue that into a lot of my pieces moving forward in different ways. Yeah. So even though this one is very similar in meaning to the previous piece with the heart, I feel like they are so different in the color scheme and the design, the layout, and even the way that the object is being distorted. You can tell that the moon has been dripping for a very long time because there's this pool of moon juice, magical, mystical moon juice at the bottom. I tried my best to make it look like a flowing liquid. I'm not sure how well that comes across, but this is what I ended up with. And then near the moon, I used a dotting tool just on the bristles to make some stars. And once those dried, I watered the white paint down quite a bit to get a more translucent effect, so I could put that around each and every circle. Please leave a comment below telling me which paintbrush design is your favorite from this video, and also give me some ideas of what you want to see me paint on next time. Toodaloo! That was obnoxious. Thank you for watching. Please turn on bell notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and subscribe. Hope you have a great rest of the day. Bye! Oh no, I just dropped them. Please be okay. Please be okay. We're gonna use a little guy. Seriously, so much hair.